gather together, grow together, and we provide transportation, affordable transportation. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. How y'all doing? It is 90 degrees in Kitsap County. That means it is hot, 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 hot out here. It's hot, y'all. It's hot. Okay. Please take care of yourself. Stay hydrated. Get under cover if you can. There are hot weather shelters open all over the county. Please, please, please take care of yourself. Think about those that are outdoors. I'm sure Salvation Army and others will be taking around water, but it can never be enough. We shout out to Joe, brought some popsicles, some ices down there yesterday. It's hot. It's really hot. Good thing for us, the weather is going to change here soon, which is good. So we just need to hold on for a little bit, and it should get a little bit more reasonable, which is excellent. Anyhow, we're going to get ready to get into our show here in just a second. However, I also have to acknowledge that this is a very special day. This is my father's birthday. Hit the horn for that. Oh, that's a record scratch. You want to hit the record scratch? You want to hit the horn. My dad would be 70 today if he was still with us. It's been 5 years. 5 years. 5 years. Definitely miss my father. As I talked about before, all of the lessons that he has imparted in the short time is all that I have to lean on now. And there's so many times I wish that I could talk to him and get his counsel, his sage wisdom. But it is a joyous day because he knew the Lord, and ain't too many people I can say that I have a good idea of where they're at, but he is definitely one of those folks. So happy birthday to my father. Also, his birthday marks the special kind of solstice in the Cameron family. So my oldest daughter, Nikoya, she turned 30 yesterday. Shout out to her. And of course, I am 50. So my birthday is in January. Nikoya's birthday is on the 14th of August. My dad is on the 15th of August. And then Layla is in October. But my father is 70. I'm 50. Nikoya is 30. So we got this 20-year gap thing that always hits right on dad's birthday. And that is the day. So pretty awesome. So I just want to take some time out and shoot that out. Of course, behind me, you see that there's something new, right? Hit the horn for that. District 4, you know what we're going for. City Council, y'all. This is my district here. As you can see, this is where we will be representing should we get elected on November 7th. So I appreciate all the help and all the support for everyone so far. And I definitely will be working on my asking skills, which I'm horrible at because I'm just used to trying to do it all on my own, and folks have to force me to ask for help. So I will try to do better as at this point, I really don't have a choice, right? So let's jump right on into it. As you know, I went and got my MRI on Friday, and then I got my results this Monday. And I actually wanted to share that with you all. And a little story. What ended up taking my father out happened years previous, right? I gotta find a way to try to silence these notifications here. My team is going crazy. Let me see. And so with my dad, right? He had diabetes, and it was manageable. He was doing his thing, right? Doctor, Diet Pepsi, He was good for that, but he loved his iced tea. And he was at school one day, and a student was sitting in a rolling chair just like this and rolled back onto my father's toe. And it created a wound and it wouldn't heal. And so, unfortunately, that wound got to a point where they ended up needing to amputate the toe. And, for those that have uh, that are amputees or have worked with amputees or have amputees in your family, you know how painful that is to have the wound vac and to debride the wound and how painful that is. My dad also happened to be afraid of pain medication, right? Because of the opiate stuff was all in the news and all that. So he didn't want to take pain pills. And being the strongest man that I knew, to watch your father cry is hard, right? And then still wouldn't take the medicine. I mean, that's tough. He was a tough man. But that's how it started, right? So this started years previous, and we progressed where it was a toe, then it was, I believe, the foot, above the ankle, and then a little bit of the leg, and it just things got worse and worse and worse. And then unfortunately, he went home in 2018. And why this conversation is important is in a lot of ways we can become our parents, right? He very rarely took sick days. He was always taking care of others, and disregard to his own health. I definitely do believe I've inherited that disease from my father. It's a lot easier to care for others than it is for you to care for yourself, and in our situation, right? And that's one of the ways that we were raised, even though he didn't say it directly. That was just something he modeled, and it's something that I picked up on, right, in my adulthood. And so that's what it is, and that's what we do. And talking with folks, right, they can be quite surprised at the fact that well, I can have advice and counsel and encourage other people to advocate for themselves and advocate for them on their behalf. I very rarely do that for myself, and it's very mystifying to people. And it is what it is, right? And there's a lot of different reasons on why that is, but it is what it is. And so it's like rub some dirt on it and keep on going. And some of that is what does it mean to be a man, not having a choice, not getting the medical care that um, you should get, right? Biases and things like that. So all of these things all together framed who you are. And it's like, well, you just got to do what you got to do. Don't worry about it, right? To get better. Uh, and if it doesn't, then, once it takes you out, then you go ahead and you'll deal with it. And so that's how I've gotten through life for the most part. It had to pretty much stop me. And so on Juneteenth, right? I'm taking my pictures. We're doing our thing. We're having a good time down at Evergreen. Shout out to Kitsap Juneteenth event. And my battery died, and I got to my voter station and um, sat down, or my election station, and I sat down. I was so glad that the battery had died because I'm like, man, I could barely walk. I mean, I can't go anymore. And my leg had been hurting weeks before, but I just thought it was, hey man, you're in Seattle, you're doing all these events for city council out there, and it's just taxing your body, right? You're just grinding. You're at SeaTac doing an event. You're in downtown Seattle doing this event. You're just all over the place. So you're just tired, right? You're just sore. But that day in particular, it was like, man, I'm done, right? So I made it home, and my knee just kept hurting, and it got really bad. It got to the point where, how you climb on your bed and you put your knee on your bed, like if this is your bed, here's your knees. You kind of put a knee on there and you climb on and you lay down. I cannot put any weight on that knee, not at all. Not on, my bed is super soft. I can put any weight on it, right? I couldn't turn. I had to lay a certain way. Um, I ended up falling at the church, and that's scabbing up now, which is crazy. So it just got worse and worse and worse. I mean, I don't know what's going on. And unfortunately, it wasn't just that because I've got degenerative disc and joint disease in my spine. It was making my back worse, right? So now I'm just a hot mess and I'm trying to get through. So it kind of gets to the point, it's like, all right, I'm gonna have to go to the doctor, right? I'm to the point now where I gotta go. I can't ignore it anymore. So I go, and as you know, with a lot of healthcare, depending on who your healthcare provider is, you're gonna have to get pre-authorization every step of the way. So the first thing is, hey, let's get in to see an appointment, right? Well, you can't get in for a month and a half. Man, I ain't gonna be able to wait a month and a half. So you advocate for yourself and you say, hey doc, man, I can't wait a month and a half. I'm hurting. Can you like send a referral for me to get an x-ray? Okay, so he does that. Well, that takes time, right? So they've got to contact your insurance and they've got to write their report and say why they justify it. Okay, go ahead. Get the x-ray. X-ray doesn't show anything. All right, doc, but I'm telling you, man, I'm dying. Well, we've got an appointment in 3 weeks, so when you come in 3 weeks, we'll talk about it then. Now I've got folks that care about me that are like, no, you need to tell them you need an MRI. Don't even wait. And I'm like, no, it's not how it works. I'll be fine. I'm busy. And, I got these results Monday. It's Tuesday afternoon. I still haven't, called to see if I had my ortho referral, which we'll get into in a minute. Right. But that's, those behaviors are hard to break. Anyhow, so it's like, all right, on that Friday in 3 weeks, I'll get the referral. And I need to see him anyway. I haven't seen him, in 6 months or however long it's been since I've seen my primary. So I get in and I'm like, hey, doc, this is what's going on. It's killing me. I've got all this pain here, there, and other. And so he's like, all right, let's go ahead and put the referral in for your MRI. So this was a couple Fridays ago now, right? So I do that. I get a prescription for some medication. And I called to fill the prescription, and nope, we don't have a prescription. This was Friday. Saturday, nope, we don't have a prescription. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, same thing. Thursday, Friday, same thing, right? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, same thing. I've gone almost 10 days without having any kind of pain relief from my prescription. So I'm like, okay, I can't take it anymore. Hey, doc, I call my doctor's office. The pharmacy's telling me they don't have this medication. It's been 10 days. I'm dying, right? All right, so what you have to do is you got to call around and find a pharmacy that has it. Call us back, and then we'll switch it over there, right? And then you call the other pharmacy, and they'll switch it over. So I do that, right? Come to find out that it was the insurance company that was partially holding it up. So the new place couldn't fill the prescription. So I'm bouncing back and forth on that, right? This is what a lot of folks go through, and they have delayed health care. So I'm hoping that one of the things you're taking from this overarching message is do not procrastinate. If you don't feel good, take care of it immediately, because while you go in and you want to fix it now, that it may not be right now. It may take weeks for you to get in. There can be mitigating circumstances or issues with seeing a specialist, getting a procedure done, getting your medicine, whatever the case may be, right? May not work on a day that you really can't go into the doctor, whatever the case is. Don't procrastinate on there, because you don't know what the other side is going to look like. So they're like, okay, finally get my medicine. Great, that's wonderful. But, so the referral comes in. I get a call from the MRI clinic, like, hey, we can get you in September 1st. All right, now this is like August, the beginning of August, right? Maybe the first week, third, fourth, something like that. I'm like, wow, I got to wait a whole month to get a MRI, right? The MRI, which will hopefully tell me what's going on, so then we can set a treatment to get better, right? So now I still have to wait 2 weeks to figure it out. Okay, that's all I can do. It is what it is. And so, as many have asked me, like, hey, Marwan, you haven't been doing a lot of shows. We haven't seen you in a lot of places. You haven't been showing up at events. And it's like, I'm having a hard time walking, and I'm in a lot of pain, which is the reason why, right? So for those of you that are watching that didn't know, that's what was going on, right? I can endure a lot, but even I have my limits. So for those of you that think I'm a machine, I'm a machine, but sometimes I'm a little faulty. So anyway, so I can't get in until September 1. I'm like, well, please put me on the cancellation form. So on Friday, I get a call. It's like, Mr. Cameron, do you think you can make it to Port Orchard here in about 40 minutes? And I'm like, yep, it don't matter if I couldn't, I'm gonna make it there. So I haul it. I get out to Port Orchard, I get the MRI done, and I'm waiting for the results, which I got the results yesterday, and that's what I'm gonna share with you today. All right. Now, again, I'm thinking maybe it's not a big deal, we'll see what it is. But at this point, it's getting so bad, I got to figure it out. Do not procrastinate. Go and get the cane. All right. So this is the result. And I really like having my chart because I can log in and see what was happening. So here are the comments from the doctor's office. Hi, Marwan. The MRI shows a small tear in the meniscus, a sprain of the medial collateral ligament, mild arthritis, but wait for it, but wait, there's more, but also a large Baker cyst, a cyst behind the knee with evidence of rupturing. This can be quite painful. Well, thanks, Captain Obvious. There are treatments that may help this, including aspiration of the cyst and steroid injections. I have placed a referral to orthopedics to help with this. So these are my study results here. Number one, a small radial tear involving the posterior horn of the medial meniscus, intact lateral meniscus, ACL, and PCL. Number two, a mild tricompartmental osteoarthritis, worse in the patellofemoral joint compartment. Small joint infusion noted, no definite evidence of loose body identified. A 5.5 by 2.1 by 0.9 centimeter Baker cyst with a probable partial rupture of the Baker cyst. A minor sprain, medial collateral ligament, and minor bone narrowing edema involving the lateral femoral condyle. No gross fracture seen. So I'm like, what? I'm thinking, all right, maybe I tore my meniscus, right? I'm not thinking I tore my meniscus and. So it's all these things all together, right? So do not be your own doctor. Don't make assumptions. You think that you know what's going on with yourself. You don't. You're not a medical professional. Yes, you do need to listen to your body. One thing, I did not listen to my body, although I don't know what a torn meniscus is supposed to feel like. I had some folks telling me that it could have been a blood clot, which I didn't think that's what it was, and that's a pretty scary thing. But that did not, I was still in my ignorance, where if someone gives you that advice, it's like, okay, maybe I should get it checked out because that could be deadly, right? And so maybe if I had pressed on the gas and advocated a little bit more vigorously, I could have found out some of these things sooner, right? I could have cut down this time of finding this out. I didn't. It is what it is. But come to find out, I've got all this other stuff on top of it, right? So they're going to have to treat all of this. So what is this stuff, right? A small tear of the meniscus. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see where the medial meniscus is, and you can see this picture of the back of the knee. You can see the front of the knee. You can see the tibia there and the lateral meniscus there. And so there is a small radial tear involving the posterior horn of the medial meniscus. And typically at my age, from what I heard, that's just something that they just need to let heal on their own, right? And unfortunately, steroids injections can actually slow down the healing of the meniscus. So it's just something where you need to rise it, right? Rest was it incline or rest, ice. God, what is C? I don't remember what C is. And E is elevate. And then there's one called police, which is even more, which is actually pretty cool. I have to look that one up. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not sure how I'm going to rest, but the steroid injection is going to help me. They only typically will do the surgery, which can bring on arthritis. So they don't want to do that. So it's like, great. But this is all I thought that it could have been, right? So then the second part was, well, you've got a sprain of the medial collateral ligament. And the study result, the impression is a minor sprain, a medial collateral ligament, minor bone marrow edema involving the lateral femoral condyle, if I'm pronouncing that right. And so here you can see the MCL there. And I have probably what is grade 1, right, which is mild stretching of the ligament fibers and minimal tearing. Grade 2 would be a partial tearing of the ligament fibers leading to increased pain and instability. And then a grade 3 would be a complete tear of the ligament resulting in significant pain, instability, and the treatment for MCL sprain depends on the severity of the injury. Okay. Now, some of the symptoms here can be pain along the inner side of the knee, which may vary in intensity based on the severity, which of course I have, right? So what am I doing? Not only am I not resting, but now I need a door knock. So I'm walking upstairs. And then every time I leave my house, for those of you that have been to my home, you know, I've got some pretty steep steps that I have to transverse. And then if you come down to G2, there's some steps there too. So I can't avoid it, right? And so I'm not getting the rest that I need to heal. And then I'm constantly, you know, doing stuff, right? Swelling around the injured area due to inflammation of the ligament. There can be some stiffness and limited range of motion due to swelling and pain. And of course, tenderness to the touch and on the inside of the knee. Now, for me, that was on the inside, but I also had it on the front. Remember, I was saying I couldn't even put any weight on it to get into the bed on a soft pillow, right? And bruising might develop around the injured area. And so now I'm dealing with the sprain on top of it. Okay, starting to make a little bit of sense. Got it, got it. Well, you got mild arthritis. Well, you know, I might be 50. So, you know, I've got mild tricompartmental osteoarthritis, worse in the patellofemoral joint compartment. Woo, say that 5 times fast. So, what is mild arthritis of the knee? It refers to a condition where there's a degree of degeneration and inflammation in the knee joint, which, you know, is going to happen as we get older. Arthritis is the term that encompasses the various conditions characterized by the inflammation and the deterioration of the joints. And so, you know, give a shout out to Rich. You know, fish oil, things like that can help with some of those things. Make sure that you're stretching and getting some exercise. But you know, you're just going to deal with it as you get older. Oh, but like you said, wait, there's more. I've got this Baker's cyst behind my leg with a probable partial rupture of the Baker cyst. Now, here in America, we don't typically work well with centimeters. We like inches. So I converted the centimeters to inches, and it's like, okay, so I've got a 2-inch cyst on the back of my knee that is partially ruptured. So this thing is 2 inches by an inch by a third of an inch. Now, this is a pretty sizable cyst here. As you can see in the back of the knee, it is not protruding out of the back of my knee that way. And as the doctor stated in their report to me, this can be quite painful. Well, yes, it is. There are treatments that may help, including aspiration of the cyst and steroid injections. Well, remember I was saying they don't typically give you a steroid injection for a torn meniscus because the steroids can slow the healing down. But because you've got this cyst, one of the ways that we can help deal with the pain is to give you a steroid injection. So now you've got things kind of working against each other. Again, the moral of this story is if there's something going on with you, do not wait. You have to talk about it with your physician as soon as you can so that things don't get worse, right? Because I'm dealing with compounding the problem, right? And I don't know if, hey, you know what? You're getting older, you've got arthritis, but somehow you torn your meniscus, which is making your arthritis worse. But along with that, now all of a sudden, you know, you've got this, you've got a sprain, and somehow this cyst develops. I don't even know how cysts develop. So what can we do? Pain management, some physical therapy definitely is probably going to be in my future. Activity modification, you know, which is why you see me walking around here with the cane. One, so I don't fall, right? Because I've already fallen once. And injections, uh, corticosteroid, or how do I say that? Hyaluronic acid injection may be considered to provide temporary relief. Now, I don't even know what that is. And then assistive devices, knee brace, which I do have. I do listen to the counsel of others. So I do have a knee brace. Um, or orthics can provide support and alignment to the joint. And then a surgical consultation in more advanced case in more advanced cases, a surgeon might be consulted to discuss potential surgical interventions, such as a knee replacement. Now we're not claiming any of that, right? That's a bridge too far. We're not doing any of that. But that is where we're at right now with me. And again, I wanted to share this with you so that I can impress upon you how important it is to be proactive in your own health. One of the things in regards to running for city council is to advocate and address issues in regards to delayed healthcare, right? We just came through COVID. We know what we went through with that. We know what the issues are with the Silverdale Hospital. It is quite the adjustment for those of us that live in Bremerton that had a Harrison, now that have to either make a choice of going to Silverdale or going to Gig Harbor for services. And then the issues that we have at the Silverdale Hospital, right? And so we cannot afford to wait. And it may seem like, oh man, I can tough it out. I don't have time for this. I can't afford to take off work. I'm too busy. Whatever the reason or the justification you have in your mind to delay your health care, I implore you to not do that, right? There is no telling what level of damage I've done by being somewhat stubborn, right? And just saying, hey, it'll heal on its own and it's just not that bad, to the point of when I finally get in and then having to deal with things that are outside of my locus of control in regards to when can I get in to see a doctor? When is that referral going to come through to have x-ray or MRI or whatever's next, right? I don't even know when I'm going to get in to see my orthopedic specialist, right? And then what they're going to advise that we do in regards to my medical treatment. And so these are all things that we have to consider. And so please do not delay, right? And oftentimes you'll hear horror stories like, oh man, you have stage 3 or stage 4, this or that. And if you had just come in sooner, we could have done something. And I don't want that to be any of you. I definitely don't want it to be me. So, but that means that we have to be proactive in that, um, and really just really care about ourselves. So this is, again, just the information that came through from my chart. If you have access to my chart, it is a really good way, and this is just copying and pasting that. It is a really good way to communicate with your doctors, especially if you can't get in to see them. So instead of waiting for a month, I was able to send an email, hey, this is what's going on. And they made the referral for the x-ray without me going in and seeing the doctor, right? So that is a very helpful thing to do. And if your doctors have that built in, I encourage you to take the time to do that. And some of that might be, you might need to start a new email address because, well, you've had your email on your phone for so long, you don't remember the password, and now you lost that phone and you can't get into your old Gmail. Create a new one, put it up somewhere so you have it in case you lose that. In case you lose that phone or whatever the case may be, you're still able to log in, reset your password so that you can, access and get emails and things of that nature. Those things are super important. All right. So now that you know that what's going on, I will be suspending, at least me myself, doing canvassing here for the foreseeable future. But I have a great team behind me who will be canvassing and they'll be out putting signs out. I am still in catch up mode as I have had to shut down quite a bit of what I usually do just because I couldn't go, right? And there were days where, it's not even enough for me to um, leave the house because of the pain, but I couldn't sit in my office chair because it was really painful and kind of really hard to concentrate, and so you kind of fall behind, right? So I will be slowly catching up and getting myself together. You will definitely see me at some things. I was at Kids at Black Student Union's conference on Saturday, which was a fantastic event. If you didn't go, you missed out, and I recorded the event, but I did not broadcast that live. So you might have to ask Miss Jewel and see if you can get in on that, or maybe you have to come to next year's because it was definitely a great event. Mm. And so with that, I'm going to leave you, not for the whole day. We've got tonight at, I believe, 5:30, the Olympic College board meeting will be taking place, and I'm going to try to go live one more time because, of course, tomorrow is City Council, and they're working on the new ordinance for ML King, and there's some other things that I need to talk about down there that I think is important. So if I get a chance, you'll see me go live here again here shortly, but we will see what happens. In the interim, again, please stay cool, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and we'll see you soon. I'm R1 Cameron. This is The Conduit.